My name is Bludgeon, and welcome to day one of the BLUDGEBOWL Immortality Tournament. This is a 16-player tournament, Dune Imperium with Immortality 2.11. No Rise of Ix in this format. I think it's a fascinating way to play the game, and I can't wait to see what the players bring to the table. We've got 16 players divided across 4 games. The top 2 from each match will move on to the semifinals. Top 2 from each semifinal game will then move on to the final, where we will crown the BLUDGEBOWL 2 champion. Who will be crowned BLUDGEBOWL champion alongside the winner of BLUDGEBOWL 1, Narakian? I can't wait to find out. In day 1 today, we're going to watch the first 2 games. Come back again tomorrow for day 2, where we'll find out the final players to make it into semifinals. Let's get into it. Here we are in game 1 of the BLUDGEBOWL, and you can hear in my voice, I am really psyched for this. I've been looking forward to this tournament for a really long time. We're in Leader Select. This is Draft. This is Dune Imperium 2.11 Immortality. We've got Suko Milk, Anjay, Shinonymous, and Dinosaur in this game. The top 2 will move on to the semifinals. First pick, Ariana here. The other options now are Ilbon, Beast, Memnon, Helena, and Baron. Let's take a look at the Imperium row. Whoa, baby. Firm Grip, Dissecting Kit, Lady Jessica, Spice Smugglers, and Liet Kynes. Then we've got Contaminator and Unnatural Reflexes here in the Tleilaxu row. The Contaminator especially is a great early pick. The Unnatural Reflexes can be a really good card if you can get that research happening, but we've got a stacked Imperium row, and Helena has not been chosen. Beast and Ilbon here are the picks, down to Dinosaur in position 1, Memnon, Helena, or Baron. I happen to know Dinosaur is a Memnon fan like myself, but I don't know what he'll go for in this situation. Very exciting. Of course, there's no Ix, so there's no text to look at here and no Ixian leaders in the game. It's a great format. I'm so excited, and we are off to the races here in game number 1 with a skirmish for a victory point and Solari. We are observing Anjay here in this game. Player 3, having chosen Beast. His opening hand, Ring, Experimentation, and Dagger. He'll be third to reveal, which means this Contaminator is probably going to be off the table. Helena was picked by Dinosaur in position 1 here. Let's see what he goes for. It's going to really depend on the opening hand, how much Persuasion he might have available if he gets the Ring. And what he decides to go for here, but it's going to be Experimentation straight to Secure Contract, getting some of that Solari into the coffers right off the bat. Ilbon with a similar idea, Shinonymous sending Seek Allies up to Wealth, and it's over to Beast, who can do a Cell Melange here in round 1 if he wants to do it. He can go Haga Basin, immediate Cell Melange. The nice thing about Beast is that starting Spice and the Solari, but the Spice being critical for the Cell Melange play. You can get 3 here, sell it for 8, and you are getting Swordmaster round 2 because he has a dagger there, and it looks like that is, in fact, going to be the plan. Now, does he commit troops knowing that he's not going to be going to a combat space with his second agent? I'm assuming that's the plan. We don't know that that is the plan. In fact, he potentially doesn't need to do the Cell Melange. Actually, he does need to do it this round because he has no Spice Trade cards in the next hand. Does decide to throw in a couple of troops, and it still suits for Suko Milk here on Ariana. Up to 2 water, monopolizing that water as Ariana sometimes likes to do. The second agent for Helena here was Diplomacy. So it looks like there was no Ring. Hardy Warriors is the play, going for that first round victory point. And Ilbon decides to go for round 1 Wealth Mentat. See how much Persuasion he can get with this play. Is there a chance he could sneak a round 1 Jessica here? I haven't done the math on that one, but we will see. I mean, lots of great options here. Of course, there are nukes available for everybody, and it's an early reveal for Ariana, taking the Liet Kynes. Okay, what were the cards? Diplomacy, Experimentation, Dagger, 2 Convincing Arguments. Also taking the Contaminator. So, I mean, that is, you know, the extra incentive for the early reveal there was that Contaminator. Dissecting Kit picked up for Helena, so that's some early trash. And then a defensive nuke or offensive nuke. I hear people call it like which one is offensive, which one is defensive. I guess they both apply. But anyway, not nuking for one's own card acquisitions, but rather trying to nerf your opponent's card acquisitions. And with that wealth mentat, I can kind of see it. I mean, look, we've got far less juice here in the Imperium row now for the other players to pick up. You know, Jessica, oh, what? There was a Tleilaxu Master I didn't see there? There was a Thufir Hawat that I didn't see there? Beast with 3, I mean, that's a pretty easy plan coupling, and that is indeed the pickup. Looks like, well, we'll see what Ilbon reveals here. But Ariana going to get nothing for that single troop, and looks pretty good for Helena to win this. Ilbon does have an intrigue card, so theoretically, if he has 2 daggers in hand plus an ambush or something, he could tie. He does have the 2 daggers. Okay, so that's going to look like second place for Ilbon, which is pretty good. Picks up Arrakis Liaison. And I can't see an intrigue card being played here. So Ilbon up to 2 intrigue cards here going into the next round. Beast sitting on 9 Solari, ready for Swordmaster, and doesn't even have to rush it. Could play, you know, either the Diplomacy or the Seek Allies first, then play the Swordmaster, because no one else is going to be competitive for the Solari here, and no one has a voice. Speaking of voice, let me hydrate myself here. I'm so hyped. Glad to have you here in the chat for this live premiere. Of course, these games were pre-recorded because it's pretty hard to run a legit tournament if I'm live streaming the games. You know, how do you keep people from stream sniping and so on and so forth? So this game was recorded in the past, but we're here in the live premiere watching it together. Hey, Bludgeon, are you here? Are you here in the chat, dude? I never say dude to other people, but sometimes I call my other self dude. It's just a thing we have. Anyway, Beast here has Diplomacy, Seek Allies, Dagger. Like I said, I expect to see one of Seek Allies or Diplomacy played first, followed by Swordmaster. And indeed, that's what it is. It's Seek Allies to Still Suits, perhaps Anjay, considering, you know, do you want to keep the Seek Allies for later or play it now? Theoretically, it shouldn't make a difference because I would imagine the play is Swordmaster next and then Diplomacy after that. Ilbon went to secure contract here, getting up to 6. Solari and Ariana hits up Carthag. So it looks like Ariana's going to try to win this, but you never know. Ilbon has a water and I think has Diplomacy this round. Although I'm not 100% sure on that front. There was a Tleilaxu Infiltrator that got picked up last round, by the way, by Beast. Really nice. One of the nicest Tleilaxu cards you can get, allowing you to sneak into spaces that you otherwise couldn't get to, drawing a card at the same time. If you happen to get to the end of the research track, it's going to get you an intrigue card. You know, that part is really a very nice bonus if you can get it, but the main thing is the infiltrate ability on it. Ilbon throws in a few troops here, perhaps counting the daggers, although Ariana still has another agent. So is Ilbon just that desperate to get Solari out of this conflict? Perhaps. It looks like I was wrong about the Diplomacy. Although it's interesting here because Ilbon missed a faction play by the looks of things because only has 1 faction influence after 2 rounds. So the Diplomacy, I think, is in hand, or unless it got revealed last round and I missed that. So Beast does have that round 2 Swordmaster, and we'll see who gets it next. There's a dagger reveal there for Ilbon, as well as a nuke on 6 Persuasion, the new Imperium row here, Missionaria Protectiva, Freeman Camp, Chris Knife, Smuggler's Thopter, and other memory. It's not exactly a super thrill. Does he have other Bene Gesserit cards already? I don't think so. but still takes the other memory. I mean, it's, you know, it's not a bad card to have on its own. It's not incredible, but reveal for 2 persuasion or play and draw, you know, not bad. Also does, you know, leave open the possibility of picking up some more Bene Gesserit cards later. Not sure. I mean, he didn't want the Missionaria immediately, although that can be a decent combo, but decided it wasn't worth going for right now. We'll see if he picks it up later. Hardy Warriors here for Beast. Gonna come in and fight for this Machinations. Ilbon does have 2 intrigue cards. Ariana has 1 intrigue card. But he's just going to put them to the test here. He's going to say, show me what you got. Show me what you're working with. Show me what you're working with. Liaison pickup for Ariana, who does have a dagger. I've got to feel like Ilbon has at least 1 combat intrigue here. Dinosaur picks up the Death Commando. Gonna try to get some trashing, more trashing done, I guess I should say. Beast with 3 has a nuke, but I mean, yeah, I think you just take the Chris Knife here or Liaison. Goes with the Chris Knife. Doesn't have any other Freeman to trigger the Freeman Bond, but it's still not a terrible card on its own. Ilbon passes, does not have a combat intrigue, so that's a really nice gut check for Anjay there to win the Machinations by 1 sword. Ariana and Ilbon tying, so both of them are going to miss out on the Solari, both of them walking away with just 1 water. Ariana building up those water reserves here. And we're going into round 3, Beast picking Freeman and Bene Gesserit with the combat reward. They're looking to pick up that Freeman Alliance, which does make sense. There's the Chris Knife to just cap that off right now if he wants to do it. Sitting on 3 Solari, we'll see if Beast wants to try to get a High Council, having already picked up Swordmaster, see if he wants to block perhaps Mentat. I don't know. Signet Ring and Chris Knife here. No troops in the garrison. Nobody has any troops in the garrison, in fact. Hits up the Still Suits, getting the Freeman Alliance, I think makes a lot of sense because now the ring is powered up, generating 2 troops instead of 1, which is going to give him a decent chance to win this conflict. A ring to Carthag, for example, gets in for 6 strength plus an intrigue card plus the dagger reveal. Is going to be tough for anybody, honestly, to really compete with, even with the Hardy Warriors, because the garrisons are empty. One of the beauties of playing without Rise of Ix is that tightness of the game. There's fewer troops floating around. Troops are much more precious, which to me makes the combats a lot more interesting. Faction influence is a lot more precious without people picking it up for free off the shipping track. You've really got to kind of mostly get it from your cards, and it changes the valuations about what kind of cards you might be interested in picking up as a result. Speaking of that, really no faction influence in the Imperium row here. So that's going to be a bit of a challenge for the players. So those players who were able to pick up faction influence already will be, you know, happy with that. That Chris Knife, for example, I don't think anyone's going to be able to challenge Beast for that Freeman Alliance at this point. The planned coupling also going to come in really handy. Who else? I can't remember who else has picked up faction cards at this point. All right, Beast prioritizing the experimentation play. Getting that research. Here's where people are at currently. Not a lot progress done, although Dinosaur is ahead, having gone to the trash here. And Ariana very happy to get the chance to play the Contaminator here. Getting that Tleilaxu icon slash Scarab slash Beetle slash Bug, whatever you want to call it. Getting the second Freeman influence as well, unlocking Siege Tabber. And a couple of troops into the conflict here, which is likely, I think, going to get second place. I expect Beast to probably take first here. Dinosaur picks up Swordmaster this round. Ilbon decides to hit up Mentat, so he will have the final agent this round. It's going to be Siege Tabber for Beast, not Carthag. Deciding now that Ariana has spent some water, there's an opening in the market for a new Water King. By the way, if you're wondering what this, thing is over here, this is just showing the chat because I put my camera here in front of where the chat would be. Meanwhile, while I'm talking about that, we had a major nuke and a Chome directorship picked up here for Ariana. That is massive. That is a massive, massive card, particularly in the context of what I was saying before. With no shipping track, faction influence is much more precious. And getting 4 in one shot like that is a huge game changer. Ariana now feeling much, much better about her position in this game. And we've got throne room politics, we've got Reverend Mother Mohayim, we've got gene manipulation, we've got Tleilaxu Surgeon, and we've got Carryall. All of these cards actually fairly good cards. The Carryall normally would be maybe considered the weakest of the bunch here, but with an Ariana in the game, that can be pretty good. But of course, she decides to pick up the Tleilaxu Surgeon, which is one of the strongest cards in the game. That ability to get 2 Tleilaxu icons on agent play is just such a big deal. You know, sometimes getting this 1 point can be hard. Getting the second one is often very hard, but that Tleilaxu Surgeon is going to not guarantee, but give Ariana a very good chance to make it to the end of that Tleilaxu track. So that, combined with that Chome directorship, is a huge round for Suko Milk, and I imagine the Ariana player here is feeling very, very good about how things are going, but we're only in round 3 here. Anything can still happen in this game. Ilban with the final agent goes to Wealth, getting that Emperor point, getting up to 7 Solari. So still not going to be at Swordmaster yet. Ariana has 4 Spice. That could be converted into a Sel Melange Swordmaster if she wants to do that. Like I said, it does look like Beast is going to win this conflict. Low persuasion hand. Does he pick up a liaison? And he does. Beast the only player with atomics remaining. Everyone else has used them. Helena reveals 2, picks up a liaison. Yeah, some pretty tasty stuff still here in the Imperium row, and it was synonymous with that other memory. So I was talking about maybe we could get more Bene Gesserit cards for Ilban, and in fact, it happens. Picks up the Reverend Mother, as well as the Unnatural Reflexes. Where is Ilban on the research track? Okay, almost ready to get that thing going. We might see some combos with the discarding of the Reverend Mother here. Ilban very happy with that situation. And he's going to be really happy if he can also somehow get the Throne Room Politics. This is also a Bene Gesserit card, by the way, Freeman Bene Gesserit combo. Ariana hits up Conspire, decides not to sell Melange, decides that Emperor Influence, the troops, the intrigue card is better, and still gets enough Solari for Swordmaster. The Sel Melange would have gotten, you know, closer to Swordmaster and High Council. I guess she would have had enough for both of those things in that case. So it's one of the interesting things here is like the decision between Conspire and Sel Melange. They do kind of compete with each other, and depending on your priorities in the game, where you are in the game, one can make more sense than the other. Synonymous now going to Carthag with the Signet Ring, which does get him to 8 Solari, but Ariana's on deck to pick up Swordmaster. So it's looking like Ilban going to be the last player to get Swordmaster, which is not that unusual or that big of a deal for Ilban players because of the extreme value of using Mentat. Back over to Anjay here with the Plan Coupling, Diplomacy, and Experimentation. Reconnaissance Dagger, the other cards here. So you're probably going to want to graft the Plan Coupling with the Experimentation and, you know, play to like secrets, then try to get the Diplomacy somewhere else, you know, maybe Wealth, maybe Fold Space, maybe even Still Suits, but it's going to be an immediate Mentat here to deny. And, you know, not a bad play, I think, because Beast perhaps not super interested in saving up Solari. Although the 4 Solari, that could have been a Rally Troops as well, which is an interesting space here when you're not playing with Rise of Ix. And draws the Infiltrator. So that does create some flexibility. However, 2 graft cards does mean that, you know, you're going to have no reveal, basically. And Helena goes to High Council, uses the ring, and reserves the Throne Room Politics. Are you having fun in the chat? Let me know if you're enjoying Bludge Bowl Game 1 so far, and what are your predictions? Who do you think is going to walk away with it here? We've got an interesting, honestly, it could go anybody's way. Ariana had that really nice start with the Chom directorship, but Ilbon is starting to become a threat with this Bene Gesserit combo potential. Beast has some nice stuff going on. I think Beast is, you know, going to be in a decent position to pick up the rest of the faction points. Dinosaur with that throne room politics is, you know, that's a nice card to pick up. It's perhaps later than you would ideally like, and I can't remember what else has been picked up here from Helena. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention Ariana having that Tleilaxu Surgeon. Yeah, the Death Commando and the Dissecting Kit. So those are decent. Decent, but not exactly bombs. All right, Beast deciding where to play this diplomacy and whether or not to graft it. Hardy Warriors. Hardy Warriors here. Okay. I mean, he does have the water, so I can see that. Getting a little bit of distance here on the Freeman Alliance. I'm not sure if it was exactly under threat from Ariana. There's no shifting allegiances. There's no power play. But still, you know, a couple of wrong moves and you could lose that alliance, which you would really not want as Beast, because that is your only alliance that is keeping your ring active in this game. And, you know, the Chris Knife is somewhere, but I think that's a reasonable move to make. One troop in so far for Ilbon and Ariana. Ilbon reveals with 6, picks up the Lisanne Algave. That's going to generate 1 spice immediately. It is another Bene Gesserit card for the combos. So that can go either way. You can play that first to combo your Reverend Mother, or you can potentially get that combo for the Freeman Influence, which, you know, Shanonimus does need here. Has no Freeman Influence as of this moment. Beast still has 2 agents left, so this looks like a pretty free conflict, I would think. So, experimentation plan coupling to secrets, yeah, that's definitely what I would do here. Picks up a guild authorization, which is really not bad, because Beast currently has no guild influence. So that was a really 2-for-1 influence pickup there. Is going to draw this convincing argument off of the planned coupling, which could lead to like a G manipulation pickup, or honestly, maybe a guild administrator for that faction access. Potential late game Hayliner play. Ariana reveals a dagger. Did not manage to play the Signet Ring this round. Is a little bit troubling. Decides to pick up Chair Dog, as well as a Liaison. Helena reveals 5, reveals the Dissecting Kit. Does she have the research to activate it? She does indeed. Dinosaur now in the lead for that Tleilaxu victory point and spice. Throne Room Politics picked up. Guild Administrator also picked up. Helena recognizing the need for the faction influence and potentially hitting up Hayliner at a crucial moment, which can definitely be decisive in this game. Hayliner more powerful without the existence of Rise of Ix, again, because Ix devalues troops. So therefore, the 5 troops on Hayliner here is worth a lot more without Rise of Ix than it is with Rise of Ix. Gola and Guild Impersonator in the Tleilaxu row. We'll see if anybody decides to go for that. Beast maybe doesn't want to play the Infiltrator here, doesn't want to reshuffle this. So just plays the Reconnaissance to Siege Tabor, continuing to to be the new water monopolist here. Ariana had the early, you know, first mover's advantage on water, but has spent it all, and Beast maintaining those reserves. With the 3 reveal, does he pick up gene manipulation here? He does. Shifting allegiances now there. That's going to be potentially a pretty big pickup for somebody, because there are still like a lot of alliances in play here. There's only one alliance picked up so far. That is the Freeman Alliance by Beast, who is about to win Siege of Carthag, going up to 6 victory points, as well as getting control of that board space. Nice lead right now for Beast. Beast has 2 faction points to potentially pick up, getting to 8. We are playing to 11. Ariana has 1 faction point to get up. Helena still has all 4 missing, outstanding, which is like both a pro and a con. It's a pro in the sense that like there are victory points to get still when looking at that score. Synonymous, similarly, only has 1 victory point from the factions so far. Fold space with the guild administrator. There's one of those faction points. Nope. Going to be an undo there. Decides to prioritize the experimentation play, picking up 2 spice on Imperial Basin and advancing the research. Looks like along the top row here, just going to go for that first. Well, I mean, on the way towards that first point, but then the dissecting kit maybe could get her to the end. Ilbon still without Swordmaster, has the Solari for it. See what he decides to do here, sitting on 5 spice, 3 intrigue cards. There's no voice, so he can wait on Swordmaster, but does he decide to Mentat? No, other memory to Carthag, can draw the Lisan Al-Gaib or just draw a card. We'll see which one he decides to do. Takes the Lisan Al-Gaib out of the deck. Does it have a Freeman Bond? It does. 2 swords. Okay. Bypass protocol now. Grabs that shifting allegiances. Yes, that is a potentially pretty big pickup for Ilbon. Benny-Tlailak's Researcher, the new card in the Imperium row. Beast still has those atomics. So that, the shifting allegiances here could be very helpful as far as Synonymous being able to pick up some of those faction points. He's still got nothing on 3 of the tracks. Beast plays the ring to Research Station, hitting that first intrigue card on the Tleilaxu track, and picks up a Private Army, which I have a feeling will come into play somewhere. Ariana getting to play the Contaminator again to still suits. Luckily for her, it's when you've got that Contaminator, man, you're just like, please, please, please let me play it. So continuing to pressure the Freeman track, although really, like, I don't think that's the intention. I think it's just about getting that Contaminator played, getting those Scarabs on the board. Helena manages to get to fold space with her second agent, so well calculated there by Dinosaur, figuring, you know what, I think I'm going to be able to get to fold space. Let me prioritize the experimentation play. And that worked out. What was the trash? It looks like didn't trash. Right, because it had no discard pile, didn't want to trash out of hand. There's the Swordmaster for Ilbon. So going to draw a card, get another agent, and it's back to Beast with this hand here. All right, so that G manipulation could generate spice. You play the planned coupling. I wonder if he goes to Hardy Warriors here just to lock that up. Planned coupling plus Chris Knife. You can't do everything here as Beast. I mean, he could Mentat, I guess. You could go planned coupling Chris Knife, Mentat with the G manipulation if it's there, which it will be. Then get your diplomacy perhaps played, like to selective breeding with the spice you get from this. That is one way to try to do it. Now, this conflict, I think, not exactly top of Beast priority list. However, you know, a High Council could end up being what seals this for Beast. He's already got a decent amount of points, but he's going to need to, you know, keep generating some. And Spice Must Flow could be a part of that, but he decides to go to Secrets again with planned coupling. So perhaps going to try to get that Freeman Alliance as well. So that's another victory point that is very reasonable for Beast to go for. I like that play. Not worried about the Hardy Warriors. If Ariana manages to get there, Beast will be going before her next round, although he doesn't have any Freeman cards next round, so could end up getting messed up there. But here's the thing. The Chris Knife can be revealed because he has a liaison now. He drew the liaison off of secrets, which means the Freeman bond here can seal the deal, and Ariana is in fact challenging there. So looks like there wasn't like an intrigue card to lock that up, you know, unless it's a bribery and she just needs to go pick up Solari somewhere. That would be devastating, you know, if Suko Mill could like hit wealth, get the Emperor Alliance, get the Solari to lock up Freeman Alliance at the same time. Helena sneaks into Carthag, and of course she can because she has eyes everywhere. Trash is the guild administrator, so one and done for Mr. Administrator. It's a tough job market out there these days. Entry-level positions just being wiped out, although, you know, wiped out by death commandos is not usually what people talk about these days. So far, no one's showing much interest in these cards. I kind of don't expect them to be picked up at this point, although you never know. With the ability to put them on top of the deck if you're across the line here, someone could find something interesting to do with this Gola. You know, could Ilbon end up getting a Gola Reverend Mother play one of these turns? That could be pretty hilarious. Selected breeding with the Reverend Mother. Did he have the Bene Gesserit? He did. He played that other memory, so everyone going to be discarding 2 cards right now. Helena gonna have an empty reveal. Ariana not gonna be able to play the second agent. Oh boy. Oh, that's gonna hurt. That is gonna hurt. God, I love a good discard play. Oh my goodness. So, Sean is here, I guess, maybe choosing what to trash. Okay, Beast was choosing what to trash, just the UI wasn't really showing me that. I mean, discard, not trash. So it just gets rid of the persuasion since it's not gonna, you know, amount to much at this point anyway. Oh no, discarding. Wow, that hurts for Dinosaur. Discarding the Dissecting Kit and the Throne Room Politics, 2 cards you really want to reveal. That is devastating. Oh, I'm sorry, I have to give another round of applause. That Reverend Mother was even crazier than I thought. Just ruining Dinosaur's round, ruining Ariana's round. As for Beast, it's not as crippling because he's still going to get the G manipulation play. He's still going to be able to play Diplomacy as well as the Infiltrator now if he wants. So pretty good options here for Beast. Wow. Wow. Love to see the Reverend Mother brutality here in Game 1 of Bludge Bowl 2. Liet Kynes. Oh, she did have a card to reveal. Why did I think she didn't have a card to reveal? Anyway. Yikes, it was Liet Kynes, but couldn't get it played. I guess... Huh. Could have played it to Erikine, I suppose, but... Here we go. Ilbon reveals... Has the 3 specimens. Does he take a Gola? I don't think so. He really needs to get this point. He does take the Gola! Oh, I love it. I love it. It can't go on top of the deck, but oh man. I'm sorry, look. I'm gonna root for discard strategies. I just can't help it. You know, I am an unbiased observer, but that is exciting to see. So we'll see what Shenanimous can do. You know, fair number of cards there, but they're all pretty interesting. I mean, Gola could also combine with Shifting Allegiances. That could do something interesting. He is sitting on some spice, could pretty easily pick up some more. What else can Gola do here? Gola Unnatural Reflexes to draw 4. You're complaining about the Imperium row? I mean, I guess I can see it, right? He revealed for 8. and, you know, picks up Shadout Mapes. It's not exactly the most exciting 8-coster you could pick up at this point. Beast's going to play the Infiltrator with Diplomacy and go where? Also plays the Water of Life to trash that dagger. Okay. Gets the Bene Gesserit Alliance. Can he find a Persuasion in an Intrigue card to pick up Spice Must Flow this round? That would be really strong if he could. Looks like no. That Harvest Cells could be what he needs to get to the end, or at least to pick up this victory point, though. That will be crucial as well. He's got the Reclaim Forces to get 1, but he's a little bit far from the other one, so that could be helpful there. And the 8 reveal. Okay, here comes the nuke, I have to imagine. Locks up the Freeman Alliance with that Chris Knife. What can he find? Can he find a Kwisatz Haderach? For Humanity also wouldn't be bad. Look at the options here. Sardaukar Legion, Tleilaxu Master, For Humanity, Sardaukar Quartermaster, Imperium Ceremony. Oh my goodness. Oh, Memnon's not showing up for me in this view. But, wow. Picks up Tleilaxu Master. Okay. Okay, so let's see. Beast is here. I mean, the Master theoretically will get him to the end of the track. I don't know. I sort of like the idea of him going for the For Humanity here, but I don't know. Let me know in the chat. What do you think about that? And by the way, if you're watching this after the fact, let me know in the chat below the video as well. And if you don't have it turned on, it's quite fun to turn on the live chat so you can see what everyone was saying during the live premiere for a little bit of extra spectator excitement. There's a Harvest Cells for Ariana. So Anjay here in a major lead with 7 points here in round 6. We've got 4 on Ariana, 3 on Dinosaur, 2 on Ilbon. 2 alliances to Beast's name. One of them locked, the other one pretty fairly, you know, unchallenged, at least for now. If he can manage to get that guild point and that emperor point, that would be up to 9. Can he get a Spice Must Flow? It's going to be tough. He's got the persuasion for it now. All that water did get spent, by the way. Beast was racking it up, but I think he put it into research stations. Still has that guild authorization for that point. Yeah. So at this point here, it's a bit hard. You only have City and Landsrat access as Beast. I think Mentat could be a decent thing to try. It's not great because you have to spend a 2 persuasion card on it. But I don't know. Alternatively, you could just go to like Arrakeen, fight for a little bit of spice, draw a card that way. But I would imagine Ilbon's probably going to hit Mentat if it's still there, if Ariana doesn't take it. Only 1 High Council in the game right now, and that is for Dinosaur's Helena. I did say that I think Beast could use a High Council in this game and decides to infiltrate to Arrakeen just to draw the card, just to draw 2 cards here. Gets a Liaison, which is not great, and a Tleilaxu Master. Okay, well, that is something. Now, Beast is across the first genetic marker here, so the Tleilaxu Master could be played to grab, for example, the Imperium Ceremony. However, it's not going to go into hand. So I would expect that he's probably going to want to reveal that card rather than play it. I mean, Beast could try to get to the end over here. If he were to go this way, pick up that Scarab, then maybe try to go down here, get these 2. He might be able to get that other point if the game goes on long enough. Ariana wins the race to the Spice with the Tleilaxu Surgeon, crossing that line, getting that victory point. Also picks up the Emperor Alliance at the same time. And it's going to be selective breeding here for Dinosaur. Still 1 more influence away from the Bene Gesserit point. What does he decide to trash? Is it something from hand? Could he get away with trashing experimentation at this point? Maybe. 3 entry cards on Helena, 1 entry card on Ariana, 3 entry cards on Ilbon, 3 entry cards on Beast. We got stacked intrigue cards for the most part. It's going to be a dagger from hand, so that makes sense. And Ilbon does get the Mentat here. Has to spend a liaison on it, but pretty happy to do that. Ilbon's sitting on 6 spice, by the way, so that's a potential Hayliner for next round, I would think. Round 7 coming up. However, he'll be last to go next round. So if Ariana can manage to pick up a couple of spice, she could be set up for it. And that Hayliner, you know, any Hayliner coming up here is not necessarily decisive, but it's going to be impactful because the garrisons are pretty low. Beast decides to early reveal with 2 agents left. You know, and I kind of can see it. He didn't have a lot of great options here, so you pick up your Spice Must Flow, you get your research, and he decides to go the top line. So not going that potential, you know, lower route for multiple Tleilaxu points. Looks like he's just going to be satisfied with the 1. And then picking up a Spice Must Flow here. I mean, honestly, I think it's a reasonable play from Anjay right now. You're getting so close, you just desperately need to get victory points. And I'm not sure that him playing to like Carthag or whatever was going to be better than just picking up a Spice Must Flow there. So I respect that play. Tough to reveal on 2 agents, but sometimes you just do what you got to do. So makes the calculation there that, you know what, this is my move. Gets to 9 victory points, picks up the Tleilaxu point, picks up the Spice Must Flow. Has 3 troops in the combat here. Probably not going to get challenged too hard, so I wouldn't be surprised if Beast is able to actually win this, picking up 3 spice in an intrigue. That would put him at 4, but he's got the harvest cells to use. Now, given that he has this point and is gonna have a real hard time getting to this one, I kind of feel like, well, he doesn't have any specimens anyway. But I think his next reclaim forces is just going to be for troops, if it ever comes to that. Ilbon with the unnatural reflexes. Grafted to Lisan Al-Gabe. He goes to secure contract, picking up some Solari, drawing a couple of cards. 6 spice, 6 Solari there for Shinonimus. Ariana hits up secrets, picking up her Jenna Besseret point. Getting up to 7. And almost at the end of that Tleilaxu track, picks up an intrigue card for 3. Helena researching to Imperial Basin. Dinosaur going for the trade and intrigue and draw a card. And moving towards that final Scarab to get that victory point. There, reminder, the top 2 players in this game will move on to semifinals. 3rd and 4th place will be eliminated. At the moment, looking pretty good for Anjay and Suko Milk, but it's not over until it's over. This is only round 6. Here's the shifting allegiances for Ilbon. Goes to High Council. Where does he decide to go with this? Does he just kind of take, you know, an influence? Does he try to make a play? You know, you could. It's pretty tough, though. I mean, he could drop Bene Gesserit, go up to Emperor, but Ariana will be acting before him next round, so she can defend it. That's kind of the only place he has to try to go for an alliance. So I don't really see it. Maybe you drop Bene Gesserit and bump up Freeman too, so at least you have the Siege Tabor option. On the other hand, does he even want to spend the spice? Because he is set up for the Hayliner next round, but if he spends 2 spice right now, you know, he might lose that chance. He is in this conflict. Maybe he's confident about picking up 2 spice from 2nd place. Perhaps willing to spend an intrigue on it. And he does drop Bene Gesserit and go up to with the Freeman there. So picks up a victory point, unlocks Siege Tabor. Tough game. Tough game with the influence here for Ilbon. I'm so effed. Yeah. Yeah, 10 Solari here, Persuasion rather, and Dinosaur picks up Spice Must Flow. 7 persuasion for Ilbon. I mean, you might as well grab 4 humanity. I mean, it's a great card. It's just a little bit late in the game. 6 cards in deck, so not going to see that for a bit. Beast does win this conflict, picking up another intrigue and 3 spice. That spice is going to be quite nice for harvesting. I mean, for funding this private army. And Synonymous does pick up the 2 spice there, so is able to go back up to 6, potentially, you know, getting a Hayliner. However, had to invest troops to do it, so has no garrison. So Hayliner might not be good enough. We'll see. Beast, potentially, very likely, let's say, drawing into the ring, but also has no garrison. There's the harvest cells from Beast. And decides to pick up the Guild Impersonator here. Putting it on top of the deck. So, I mean, if he plays it, then he can get the guild point with that. So he would just need 1 more point to close out the game. What would an experimentation do for Beast right now? It would get 2 spice. I mean, look. You could do that. Get up to 6. If Ilbon doesn't have the goods, although it seems like Synonymous probably has the diplomacy in hand. So probably is ready to hit Hayliner if that's the move. The Grand Vision is the round 7 conflict, by the way. Which you know, is probably not what you're looking for here if you're Ilbon. Okay, there's a Tleilaxu Master. There's a Tleilaxu Master. So Beast has really interesting options here. Plays the experimentation, grafts it with the Guild Impersonator, goes to Imperial Basin, which also does get that guild influence. It doesn't have to play to Fold Space. Decides that spice is more important than putting a Fold Space in the deck, which, you know what, that makes a lot of sense. Also decides it's more important to do that than to, like, block the Fold Space from somebody else. Suko Milk hits Selective Breeding. With a Fold Space, going to be drawing a few cards. Going to try to find a Spice Must Flow this round. Poison Snooper to draw another card. Trashing that Showman Directorship, which definitely did its part. I mean, it was a really, really big thing for Arian to pick that up earlier. Wealth for Dinosaur, picking up a point with the Emperor, getting up to 6 points. So, you know, we still don't know how this game is going to end. It is going to be a Hayliner for Ilbon. Gonna try to win this Grand Vision. If Beast can somehow win it and get that Emperor point, he could theoretically close out the game, because this guild authorization means he's effectively already at 10. He just needs 1 more. He can't afford for Ariana to win this conflict here unless he plays the planned coupling. He has the ring. A ring to... where's his Infiltrator? In here. He can't sneak into Hayliner. Rally Troops is an option, but it's a bit awkward. Now, he is at the end of the track, so the Tleilaxu Master can put a card in hand here. So he could get crazy, for example. Send Tleilaxu Master to rally troops. Put the Sardaukar Legion in hand. That would allow you to deploy a bunch on reveal. Then you could deploy even more with your ring. If you wanted to get wild, that would be a pretty interesting option, and have the private army as well to back up that play. But he decides to go to Arakeen, grafting the planned coupling just to draw another card. Not worried about that alliance at the moment. Finds the Infiltrator and a Liaison, throwing in 1 troop only. Still has the option, by the way, to make that move with the rally troops, picking up the Legion. The only thing is, he only put in 1 troop here. So that's not really going to work out too well. Wait a minute now. Loses the Bene Gesserit alliance to Ariana. What happened? What happened? What happened? Ah, the Secret of the Sisterhood intrigue card. Stealing that alliance from Beast. All of a sudden, Beast here looking not so hot after losing that alliance. A little too confident, perhaps. Ouch. Ouch. Big risk from Beast, and he's punished for it. Ariana here, stealing that alliance. Can Beast somehow take it back? I mean, he can infiltrate to selective breeding or secrets, but that only gets him there. And Ariana's going to go first next round if there is a next round. So that seems pretty devastating. Nice play from Suko Milk. Stealing that alliance, now having 2. 8 points there, 8 points here. Where could Ariana's points come from? She's got all her faction points. Has 2 alliances now. Probably going to pick up a Spice Must Flow this round for 9. On track to get to 10 with the Tleilaxu. But I'm not sure where the 11 is going to come from as of right now. And Dinosaur definitely in the mix here with 7 points. It's looking tough for Shinonymous, but it's still not over. Decides to commit more to the Grand Vision. If he does win, he could... It's pretty tough. I mean, he could maybe go for the Guild Alliance. I think that would be the play, because at least you get your point there and give yourself a chance at another one. 4 intrigue cards on Ilban, by the way. It's over to Beast, so he could go to Conspire to work on that Emperor point. But it does eat up spice that could be pretty valuable for round 8, and it does look like we're going to round 8. He doesn't have a card to get to Hayliner next round, though. So it's going to be tough for him. Decides to play the Tleilaxu Master to Mentat. Drawing the Chris Knife. What does he take off the board? So whatever he takes here can go into his hand. Imperium Ceremony could go into the hand. For Persuasion, that would get him to 7. That is what he takes. Does have an Actually, he has the Infiltrator. He could go to Hayliner here. If he goes to Hayliner, he could get the Guild Alliance. Actually, he could potentially take the Bene Gesserit Alliance back. As well as set up for Guild Alliance next round, potentially. This could be huge for Beast right here. Imperium Ceremony, infiltrated to Hayliner, drawing a card, getting another intrigue card as well because he's at the end of the research track. So that would be 9 points for Beast. 10 points for Beast. It's just 10, though. I mean, it's going to be another intrigue card as well from the Imperium Ceremony. This is going to be a heartbreaker for Ilban, I think. If that's the play, but I think it is. I mean, I guess you could also just play the Diplomacy and keep this for Persuasion, but what is that doing for you? I think you play this to get your choice of intrigues. Ilban hitting great flat, picking up 6 spice, potentially to fight for Hayliner again next round, which would also get him that guild victory point. Gets to trade an intrigue and draw. Could he get Spice Must Flow here? Probably not. Plays a Sleeper Must Awaken right now because he's about to get an intrigue from the conflict, so gets up to 4 victory points. Gotta be a Spice Must Flow here coming for Ariana. She has the Liet Kinds as well, so theoretically it could be multiple Spice Must Flows. So, oh, this could be absolutely critical because Ariana might get to 11 points this round. She might get the 9th point here. She might get 2 Spice Must Flows getting to 11. And so this Alliance steal here from Beast could be absolutely critical for keeping this game alive. Now, on the other hand, if you're just playing to advance, you could kind of want Ariana to win here, but it's risky. You never know what intrigues people might have for end games. And it is going to be the Infiltrator to Imperium Ceremony. Let's see what the intrigues are here. Oh, not that great, but you know, we'll see. It's at least something you can use. How about the Imperium Ceremony? Beast, you're running out of time. Oh, please, Anjay, don't let the AI take over your turn. I'll be so sad if that happens to you. Gets a tiebreaker. Plans within plans. Oh, plans within plans off of... Oh, what a pickup. What a crazy pickup that is. Okay, so Ariana actually locks the Bene Gesserit Alliance. How did she do that? Oh, she did it with the Spiritual Fervor on the research track. Oh, okay. Well, that is devastating. I mean, it's not really... Beast could get the Guild Alliance, I guess, with this if he wins. But stealing that Bene Gesserit Alliance was going to be really, really sweet. Now, what did Ariana have for influence? She did have 16, but that's only enough for 1 Spice Must Flow. And she did not manage to get that point just yet over here. Helena reels for 5. I imagine you pick up the power play. Takes Face Dancer to put on top of the deck. Now, Face Dancer, the one card that can't get you that Bene Gesserit influence. You have all the other ones. Wow, this was a crazy grab there from the Imperium Ceremony. That's already worth 1 point for Beast. I mean, with this Grand Vision, I think you got to just go for the guild here, right? I think so. Power play picked up for Shinonymous. Occupation is here. I think you just take the Guild Alliance with this rather than going Emperor. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Doesn't have the spice for the private army, so if Ilbon happens to have some good intrigues, he could potentially still win this. Shanonymous is saying he really needed the Spiritual Fervor. Yeah, that would have gotten him the Tleilaxu point there. Sardaukar Legion picked up for Beast. I think that's reasonable. Potentially Emperor influence. All right, so does Ilbon have anything? It's Gruesome Sacrifice for Helena. Because you might as well. Staged Incident for Ilbon getting up to 5 because you might as well. All right, so let's see where Beast takes this influence. Does he just lock up Guild Alliance here? Or does he go for the Emperor, hoping to somehow sneak out the Guild Alliance and another Emperor influence to get an extra point out of plans within plans? Let us see. Picks up a tiebreaker intrigue. Does go for the Emperor. Okay. Okay. Very interesting here. It's Battle for Arakeen. Beast gets the defensive troop bonus. Up to 10 victory points, and that's a harsh hand here for Beast. What can he do with that? I mean, the experimentation does draw a card. Yikes. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. I think you probably go to Research Station with the Liaison and draw 3. I think that's probably the play. Maybe you play the experimentation first if no one else picks up water. Beast really wants to get a Spice Must Flow. I mean, it's pretty rough in terms of his ability to pick up either of those victory points right there. Emperor is worth 1 victory point from Plans Within Plans. Guild is obviously worth a victory point from an alliance. The Shifting Allegiances is extant, but not really anywhere great Shinonimus can use it. Hayliner grabbed by Helena with the Face Dancer. And looking to pick up these victory points. I mean, that could decide who gets into the next round here. The winner of this conflict is going to be pivotal. Ilbon picking up a victory point from Bene Gesserit, as well as drawing cards off the selective breeding, and could be ready to screw people over with another big Reverend Mother play. It is Research Station for Beast, picks up Planned Coupling and Experimentation, and Chris Knife. Not what he was looking for at all, I don't think. Oh, that's a little bit painful for Beast here. Kind of stalling out in this last round. What can he do? Does have 5 Solari, but doesn't have a way to get High Council or Mentat. So probably you're looking at Planned Coupling plus Experimentation to draw a couple of cards, as well as pick up an intrigue card at Secrets. I think that's going to be the play. Ariana sneaks into Research Station herself. That's going to be 3 card draws for Dinosaur. Arrakis Liaisons, by the way, are now sold out. I'm not sure exactly when they sold out, but they are sold out. 8 Spice Must Flows left in the stack. Nobody has any fold spaces in their deck at the moment. And it's a Mentat for Ilbon. 10 points on Ariana, 10 points on Beast, 7 on Helena, 6 on Ilbon. Ariana and Helena fighting over this battle for Arakeen. If Ariana can win this, it's going to look really good for Suko Milk to win. Dinosaur really needs to win this to have a shot at advancing in this game, I think. Okay. Planned Coupling and Experimentation to Secrets draws a Gruesome Sacrifice and the Tleilaxu Master. That could be crucial. The Gruesome Sacrifice... Okay. Oh, man. That gets Beast here. But he doesn't seem to have a way to get here. Having gone this Spice route, I mean, it's done things for him, right? He was able to Hayliner because of that, which was big for last round. But it's making it hard for him to find this last Tleilaxu point. The Infiltrator is going to get him another Intrigue card. Master could put one of these cards in hand. There's no good Persuasion here, unfortunately. The Blank Slate plus the Infiltrator is like kind of interesting. Doesn't have an Emperor or Guild card to graft with the Interstellar Conspiracy. This potentially could get him the Guild Alliance. I think Helena's probably going to hit up Fold Space if she can, though. And there's not really anything that Anjay can do about that. But this, or this, honestly, I guess. If you're going to look to pick up that Emperor point from the Plans Within Plans, you could put the Imperial Spy in hand with Tleilaxu Master. On the other hand, you might just want to reveal it and draw a couple of cards. You know, you've got some decent persuasion in the deck. I'm trying to see, is there a way he could get this? Doesn't seem like it. Well, actually, wait. No, because this happens after you've already revealed. That's the trouble here. Tiebreaker could end up being important. Unnatural Reflexes Gola to Air-King. So that's going to be a draw 5. Draw 5 for Ilbon. Does he even have 5 cards in his deck? Yes. I mean, you got to think... Well, I was going to say you got to think Reverend Mother could be a thing, but he doesn't have any Bene Gesserit cards in play. 10 cards in hand. Look at the small little hand thing. I don't think I've ever seen that. So what do you do here as Beast? What would you do here in the chat? I think it's a tough call. Now, Dinosaur is out of agents, so you could take the blank slate, infiltrate it to fold space, and get that alliance. Or you could take the Imperial... Oh, never mind. He's out of... This is last agent. What am I talking about? This is the last agent. So... If you send Master to High Council, you can get a Spice Must Flow. And you might as well graft the Infiltrator, draw a card, and get an entry card at the same time. Okay, he's not doing that, though. Gonna just count on the card draw with the Master to find Spice Must Flow. Shadowy Bargain! Shadowy Bargain is huge. Because endgame, that gives one Scarab. The Gruesome Sacrifice gives the other one. So that's going to be 11 points. Ariana misses the Spice Must Flow here. That's crucial for Beast. I mean, it's crucial for Ariana, but I mean, it's very good news for Beast. Tough for Suko Milk to just miss it by 1 persuasion there. Ouch. Reclaims for troops. Helena here looking good to win, but it's hard to say with 3 intrigues, 4 spice. There could be allied armada there on Ariana potentially. Interstellar Conspiracy picked up there by Suko Milk, as well as the Imperial Spy. Ilbon has the final agent of the round. What can he do? He could maybe find his guild point to get to 7. Spice Must Flow could be 8. There's the Spice Must Flow for Helena to get to 8. This could be 10. Also picks up the Bene Gesserit. This could be 11. All of a sudden, Dinosaur. All of a sudden, this could be Dinosaur's game now. We know Dinosaur doesn't have plans within plans. Corner of the market could be possible for a point. Any of the Tleilaxu endgame points could be live there for Dinosaur. Has the High Council, has the 3 spice. The game is ending here one way or the other. The question is who's going to win. This tiebreaker really could be the decider. Plans with plans worth 1, but that Shadowy Bargain is monstrous. Beast will be able to get Spice Must Flow here. The Tleilaxu Master going to draw cards. That's going to be 11 Spice Must Flow, 12 with the Shadowy Bargain and Gruesome Sacrifice. 12 plus a tiebreaker. $12 plus a tiebreaker. Helena going to be looking at 11 plus whatever endgames. I have a feeling there could be a Tleilaxu endgame on Helena here. But she's going to need to get to 13 to win. Reclaims for troops, perhaps. Oh, and a rapid mobilization just to help win this conflict. I think that's a great idea. Do it if you can. You don't need the... Oh, wait a minute. Oh, wow, that's a crazy call. Dinosaur could have reclaimed for that Tleilaxu point, but decided to take the insurance for winning the 2 points for battle for Arakeen. Really fascinating decision there. I wonder if he still has another way to get this. Does he have the... Does he have a gruesome sacrifice? I feel like we've already seen one used. But yeah, just, I mean, look, 2 points is better than 1. And if you think this one is sketchy, I can see that play. There's the spice must flow for Beast. It's really coming down to the wire here. Very close game. We still don't know who's going to be 1 and 2 moving on to the semifinals. It's not looking good for Shinonymous, that much we know. But as far as Suko Milk, Dinosaur, and Anjay goes, I still feel like it could be anybody's game. It's going to come down to end games. Okay, I mean, you can do it that way too. That does let you keep your troops in the conflict. So, yeah. Wait a minute. Did I miss something? Was Beast only back here? Maybe I missed something there. Oh no, we're good. We're good, because he can still gruesome sacrifice. Yeah, so it's either way. And you know what? That's actually not a bad idea, just to take that away, I guess. Prevent somebody else from getting the easy scarab. I'm not sure who it would be. It wouldn't help Ilbon. 14 persuasion reveal for Ilbon, by the way. Picks up 1 spice must flow, getting up to 8 points. Plays the disguised bureaucrat for the influence. Okay, getting up to 9 points. I mean, could Shinonymous sneak through? It's not looking likely, but it is tight here at the end. Beast is going to get to 12. Ariana here plays an ambush. Can she steal this conflict from Dinosaur? If so, then Dinosaur's hopes, I think, are smashed. Ilbon has an ambush. Gonna fight for 3rd place here to pick up an intrigue card to, you know, who knows what that could do. Gruesome sacrifice for Beast, getting up to 12 victory points. Anjay laying it on the line here, saying, I'm sitting here, what can you do about it? Suko Milk, does Ariana have any more combat intrigues to take this? No, no. Helena gonna get up to 11 points. And if she hadn't made that reclaim forces play, she would have lost this conflict. That was a decisive decision for Dinosaur. Really, really well played there. Knowing the necessity of winning those 2 points and prioritizing it properly. There's the plans within plans for Beast. Dinosaur did get to 12. It's going to come down to the tiebreaker from Beast. And actually gets to 13. Where did I miss that other point? Anjay and Dinosaur move on to the semifinals. Tight finish. Anjay with the win on Beast Raban. Dinosaur getting in there at the end. What was the end game? What was the end game? It was the Tleilaxu puppet. Ariana had an economic positioning. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. So it was actually 13 for Beast there. So the tiebreaker didn't end up making the difference, but it was there just in case. Whoo, endgame economic positioning, endgame Tleilaxu puppet. I really had a feeling that Helena had one of those two. Great game to the players. And there you have it. That is game number 1 here on day 1 of the Bludge Bowl. Don't go anywhere. Game 2 coming up right after this. It's time to shout out the newest members of the channel. Thank you very much to Ryan Keo, Valentine Busco, Mawillar, Sir Boris the Bold, Marco Serafini, and Lee Martinez, who joins Nico Toso and the Separoni as the newest Alliance member of the channel. Thank you so much. I also want to give a big shout out to Poncho Mango, Hendos, and Brunorin for 6 months of membership. And a big thank you to Real Polykill and Verjara for being a member for 1 year. I really appreciate your support. Thank you to all members of the channel. And if you're interested in becoming one yourself, unlocking exclusive content and helping to support this kind of thing, then click the join button just down here for details. Without further ado, it's time for Game 2 of the BLUDGEBOWL Immortality Tournament. Welcome to Game 2 of the BLUDGEBOWL Immortality Tournament. We are in Leader Select here with Raiden, Dortor, Takobi, and Kurt W. Leto has been picked up first, Ilbon has been picked up second, and let's take a look at the Imperium row in this game. Sardaukar Infantry, Guild Bankers, Spice Hunter, Sardaukar Infantry again, and Power Play. Carino Gene's Scientific Breakthrough in the Tlay Laxu row. Not exactly the most crazy Imperium row, so expect to see some nukes, although Guild Bankers and Power Play both pretty decent early pickups here. Kurt has gone with Baron in position 1, choosing the Master Stroke now, and we've got a skirmish same as game 1 today here with the victory points and Solari Intrigue cards down here. No text, obviously, because again, we are playing without Rise of Ix, and we're off and running here in this game. Let's see how Baron decides to start the game. We've decided to spectate Takobi, who has chosen Paul, top card, Convincing Argument, 2 experimentations, Ring, Reconnaissance here. So missing both faction cards in the opening round can be a little bit awkward. Let's see how Takobi decides to handle that. Baron hits up Haga Basin with the experimentation, hoping probably to pick up 2 Solari here, as well as selling Melange to get the 8 Solari for Swordmaster. That's one of the common routes to Swordmaster, especially if you can get Solari from the conflict, which isn't a given. We'll see how that goes, especially if you're going to go to sell Melange with your second agent. Paul hits up Secure Contract with an experimentation. Baron does already have that specimen, so you know what? He's got the 2 Solari from Carino Genes already, so Baron's going to be set up well here if he can get to Secure Contract for the round 2 Swordmaster. Of course, it depends on how the cards line up. We'll see if anybody decides to pick up any infantries this game, but I would expect, you know, this is kind of the main target, or this one for the round. Dortor on Ilbon went to an early Wealth. We'll see if he decides to try a Wealth Mentat play. So far, Baron the only one in the conflict, and it's over to Raiden. If he does have the ring, the only faction he could potentially catch up with right now is Emperor. And plays the experimentation to Imperial Basin, so could still be a ring for second agent, or could be the ring coming next round. Either way, he's ready for it with that spice. We've got 3 experimentations here played in round 1. Leto throws in 2 troops for the conflict, and we're over to Kurt W for his second agent this game. Is it going to be sell Melange, or does he decide to go in for the conflict even more? Hits up Still Suits. Nobody has 2 water, so no one's going to be able to pick up Great Flat. No one will actually be able to beat Baron to sell Melange next round. So Baron, if he decides to, if he has the right cards, could go sell Melange first agent next round, Swordmaster second agent, and switches up the Still Suits and the Diplomacy there, deciding to keep the Persuasion this round rather than keeping the extra faction card in the deck. It's always an interesting decision. Paul goes Arakeen with the ring, going to draw 2. And draws the Diplomacy as well as Convincing Argument. Does get to 5 Persuasion, though, so that could be a Power Play or Guild Bankers Liaison. It could also be a nuke. Leaves his options open here. I mean, he's going to be revealing second, theoretically. Maybe not ideal to draw the Diplomacy here, but you know, he's going to be doing a reshuffle anyway, so it's not the worst thing in the world. Throws in 3 troops. Ilbon goes to Carthag. Okay, so somebody's troops are going to get wasted here. It's just a matter of whose. Might depend on the intrigue card. 3 troops from Ilbon. Leto has the final agent. He has a water. Does he Hardy Warriors this? Do we just get annihilation here in round 1 conflict? Only intrigue card is on Ilbon as of right now. What does Leto have? What does Leto do? If it's Ring, his only option is Hall of Oratory. Obviously, he can't go to Siege Tabor. He can't go to Great Flat. He can't go to Sel Melange. Ilbon did not do the Mentat play, by the way. Cheers to everyone who is here right now in the chat for the live premiere. Yes, I see you, dude. I see him. And if you are watching this after the fact, of course, that's also very exciting. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, by the way. Click the notification bell. Follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/bludgeon. And if you want to support this kind of content and get more extra stuff for yourself, then consider becoming a member of the channel by clicking the join button just over there below the video. You'll get all the details there. It is a Hardy Warriors for Raiden. Gonna come in and take this victory point. We think. We'll see what the daggers are on reveal. We'll see what Ilbon's intrigue card. It's 1 dagger for Baron, but that's not going to be enough. So Baron's 2 troops, unfortunately for him, going to be wasted here. Does pick up the Carino Genes for the 2 Solari. And we've got Slig Farmer as the new Tleilaxu card. Pretty good card to pick up. Can help generate Solari and can help get progress along that Tleilaxu track. Obviously, the earlier you get it, the better it is. Scientific Breakthrough, though, really, really great. Again, especially if you can get it early. Just getting extra research happening, as well as the flexibility of City, Spice Trade, or Landsrad is valuable on its own, because that's also going to help you make progress, you know, with Scarabs and all these little resources in here. But the victory point on that thing is really the icing on the cake. All right, Paul reveals 5. Let's see what he does. Does he just take the power play off the board here? I mean, power play is a very good card to get, especially with no Ix. Its stock definitely goes up as the value of faction influence is increased. But he takes the guild bankers, which, you know, no judgment there, and a liaison as well. I mean, the same argument for the increased value of faction does go for the guild bankers, because yes, it's useful for picking up Spice Must Flows, but it does also have Emperor and guild access on it. And getting a card into your deck that has flexible faction access is, you know, very valuable, and it's really an underrated aspect of the guild bankers, especially in this format or in the classic format. Ilbon reveals, looks like 1 dagger getting to 7, so Leto maybe breathing a sigh of relief here, but there is still that intrigue card on Ilbon, and he decided to commit the troops after drawing it. So does that mean it's a combat intrigue? We're gonna have to wait and see. Paul here, his, you know, best case scenario is 2 Solari. I guess Paul is 2 Solari guaranteed, because either he and Ilbon tie and they both get 2 Solari, or Paul ends up with 30 and he gets 2 Solari that way. Freeman Camp picked up by Leto. Nice card. It does compete a little bit for the spice with Leto's ring. Here it is. Does Ilbon have a combat intrigue? Let's go to the combat screen for the close-up here. And it's a pass. Leto is going to come out ahead with that victory point from the skirmish. Ilbon and Paul are both going to tie, so no one going to get that intrigue card. They're both going to pick up 2 Solari. A bit of a tell there. Now we know that Dortor doesn't have a free combat intrigue, at least. So it's not going to be... I mean, I guess he could theoretically have had a tiebreaker, but he probably would have used it to deny Leto the point if he had had it. Paul first in this round. Top card of the deck is Experimentation, that prescience, allowing the young Duke to see glimpses of the future. Starts with the ring, goes to Secure Contract, gets to 8 Solari, and it's going to be Paul who gets the Swordmaster first. Baron, you know, could have sold Melange last round with the second agent and would have been able to pick up Swordmaster, but decided to prioritize playing the diplomacy and getting involved in the conflict more. Actually, he didn't get involved in the conflict more, but just played the still suits. Played the diplomacy to still suits. And so, unfortunately for him, Paul, with the Secure Contract, 2 Solari Secure Contract, is going to be first to Swordmaster in this game. Leto plays 2 still suits with the Seek Allies, unlocking Siege Tabor, picking up that victory point. Does he throw a troop in while he's at it? Leto going to play the ring this round, of course. Didn't have it last round. His options at the moment still are just Emperor. We'll see if anybody bumps anywhere else. It's, you know, it's not as critical really where you get it, as long as you get it somewhere. There's no shipping track to unlock. He already has Freeman unlocked. There's the Swordmaster for Paul, and we'll see if he decides to play the Experimentation or the Seek Allies with his next agent. Does have a water, so could hit Haga Basin if he wanted to. It's a victory point in water here, the Desert Power conflict. Baron the only one in the conflict at this time. Ilban hits wealth for the second time this game. Dortor up to 5 Solari and has that Emperor point. Started with the Mentat, by the way, this round. Opened with Mentat, then went to wealth. We'll see where the third agent goes. Lido, I have to imagine it's going to be Signet Ring here. Question is, where does he want to go? There's water on the board. Baron, we don't think has the diplomacy this round, so probably not hitting Hardy Warriors, but Paul can do it. Decides to go to Siege Tabor. I think that's a good pick. Getting up to 2 water here means that, I mean, it depends on the conflict, because there's water in the conflict as well. Theoretically, Ilban could pick up a water, go ahead of Lido, and pick up 5 spice on Great Flat. But it is nice to have the 2 water regardless, and it seems like Arakeen probably wasn't going to accomplish a whole lot. Throws in a couple of troops. Gets the Emperor influence there with the ring. And it's over to Baron. Baron plays the ring to Arakeen. Does he pick up an intrigue card with the ring? He does. Does he throw in 3 troops and try to win this conflict? Dortor does not have a faction card right now. So shouldn't, or I don't think he does, unless he picked up something that I forgot about there. But Hardy Warriors shouldn't be a threat from Ilban. Paul could do it and throw in 3 troops, but has no intrigue cards and has already played 1 dagger. Theoretically could have 1 in hand, though. Baron has 2 intrigue cards and might have daggers in hand himself. So it's looking pretty good for Baron to win this conflict. Paul decides to send Seek Allies to Fold Space. And while the guild influence itself isn't relevant for unlocking interstellar shipping the way it is if you're playing with Rise of Ix, it is still a valuable space to go to because the faction influence from the Fold Space becomes more important. Without Ix, the influence is less important, but the Fold Space card is more important because you're kind of desperate to get faction access. And so trading the Seek Allies in for a Fold Space is kind of 2 faction influence for the price of 1 there. Lido picks up a liaison. And Paul with 4. We've got Peter DeVries here. Paul obviously can't afford that. Can't afford the power play. You know, we'll see if Takobi decides to nuke this when the time comes. Baron is revealing first, though. Lido picks up the Slig Farmer. Baron has 5. Does he go for the power play or the Peter DeVries? I'd say both are reasonable. Again, the power play, I think in the context of Ix, the Peter would probably make more sense, and it still can, but the double influence on power play can be fairly decisive in this environment. It can really give you, you know, it can be worth a victory point, essentially, because it's really not that easy to get all your faction points, and it can decide, you know, whether you get an alliance or not. So I think that's a good play from Baron. Baron also has yet to reveal the Master Stroke. The interesting thing about the Master Stroke, when you don't play with Ix, is that no one really knows which factions you have chosen, and there's no hurry to reveal that. And so it's a nice little piece of suspense that we have in this game to see where Kurt W decided to choose the Master Stroke. Now, he's running on empty in the garrison here, so it's not going to be easy for him to actually trigger that Master Stroke. It might come down to a Hayliner later in the game, which can be interesting. Paul picks up Dissecting Kit and Scientific Breakthrough. That's a big combo there for Takobe. So those cards together really suggest to me that Paul is going to get both to the end of the research track and to the end of the Tleilaxu track. So those 2 points probably going to belong to Paul. as well as the extra point from the breakthrough itself. Gurney Halleck here picked up by Ilbon. Kwisatz Haderach now in the row. Nuke was used by Paul. No other nukes have been used just yet. Let's take a look there. Ilbon very happy to find that Gurney Halleck. Spice Smugglers also was picked up by Paul, by the way. I didn't catch that. So Baron is going to win this conflict, getting a victory point and a water. Leto picks up a spice and a water. So Leto does have first crack at the Great Flat if he wants it. And we've got Tleilaxo Infiltrator and Subject X137 in the Tleilaxo row. Both pretty decent. I mean, the Infiltrator, we saw how well that worked in the last game. Very powerful. Takobe would love to pick that up, considering he's already invested in getting to the end of the research track, but really anybody would. Is Baron revealing here with 2 specimens? Oh no, sorry, we're in the conflict. Harvest cells? Okay, so which one does he go with? He decides to go with the Subject X137. Interesting. I mean, they're both, I can argue for either one. That Subject will potentially help Baron along this Tleilaxo track, assuming he can get the research required to unlock it, which, you know, can be a bit tricky depending on how the card draws go. That Subject could work out, or it could be a bit of a bust, whereas this is kind of always good. Now, without an interstellar shipping, you know, this is maybe not as good as it is in the context of Ix because of how strong it is to infiltrate to shipping. Still, infiltrating on demand is a very strong ability, and it comes with a card draw, so there's really no downside to it other than the fact that you're spending 2 specimens, but I really think it usually makes up for that. But Baron deciding to invest instead in the potential victory points generated from that Subject. Leto does hit Great Flat with an experimentation, getting up to 6 spice, and advances his Tleilaxo marker. Dortor here on 14. Solari went for a big Cell Milan, so now equipped for all kinds of things. Equipped for Swordmaster this round. Could Mentat and Swordmaster to draw a bunch of cards. Doesn't quite have enough for Swordmaster plus High Council. But there's a chance that Dortor could pick up Kwisatz Haderach this round between drawing off Mentat and drawing off Swordmaster. It could have, I mean, it could even maybe go Mentat High Council as an alternative and to increase the chances of getting that Kwisatz Haderach. I could see it. I could see it. We'll see if somebody decides to like preemptively nuke, because they kind of have to do it sooner rather than later. Imperial Basin for Baron, getting to 4 spice, getting a research there. Top of the deck here for Paul is the Guild Bankers. What can he do? There's not really a great way for Paul to draw that card. So, I mean, you want to play the experimentation, probably. Whether it's Haga Basin or it's Secure Contract, but decides to prioritize playing the Diplomacy to Wealth. Which does open up the Mentat possibility. And Ilbon does go for Swordmaster first here. Doesn't go to Mentat. So Paul could actually Mentat, draw the Guild Bankers, and then play the Bankers and the Experimentation, which would be pretty good value. Assuming Fold Space remains open for the Bankers. I mean, I guess there's also a chance that he could... could he get Spice Must Flow? I mean, not really. Garrison's pretty depleted here. Leto in for 1. Probably not going to be enough to win. Baron still has an agent. Paul still has 2 agents. Ilbon still has an agent. It's going to be Hardy Warriors for Baron. Okay, so he's going to, you know, see if he can get this victory with 2 troops. Does have 2 intrigue cards. Does have spice. Actually doesn't deploy. Okay, so setting up for the Master Stroke in the future, I think, is what Baron is doing there. Paul does go to Secure Contract. Is he going to go for High Council this round, get up to 6 Persuasion? I could see that. Get that done, set yourself up. You've got Guild Bankers next round. maybe pick up a Spice Must Flow that way. It is going to be Mentat for Dortor here. Can he find this Kwisatz Haderach? Doesn't have the Solari for High Council, right? If he wanted to do that, it would have been Mentat High Council because Swordmaster leaves you a little bit short. He could have actually Swordmaster High Council, by the way. I did my math wrong on that. Just didn't have enough for all three. Speaking of three, that's the Persuasion Baron has. What does he want to do? Do you go with the shit out Mapes for a bit of potential on the Freeman Alliance? Do you take a Liaison? Has the two Specimens. I mean, you might as well take an Infiltrator, I think. The Carino Genes is another one that could theoretically get him Specimens, but doesn't have any Graft cards. I mean, this is a Graft card, so I really think that would be a great pickup. Just on its own, as well as adding the Graft potential for the Carino Genes here. Nuked only has 4 Persuasion, though. A nice 5 here, a nice 6 here, an okay 5 here, but the 3 is pretty good. Spiritual Fervor, usually worth picking up just for that research, but decides to go for a Liaison. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong amount of Persuasion here. Baron only, yeah, Baron had 3. Could have picked that. Went for the Liaison instead, and it is High Council for Paul, which is looking even better post-nuke now because you've got your options. You've got a beautiful Imperium Ceremony. I think that's probably going to be the pickup. Keys to Power also very, very nice. Paul 1 influence away from activating that and being able to pick up Spice while visiting faction spaces or Landsrat in a pinch. I think we'll see what happens. The Imperium Ceremony, that 3 Persuasion, like 3 is a lot more than 2. Yeah, it's just 1 more than 2, but it's also a lot more than 2 because every single Persuasion can be the difference between, you know, picking up your Spice Must Flow or not. Does take the Imperium Ceremony, and yeah, combos pretty nicely with that Guild Bankers there. Paul maybe going to try to set up, you know, some kind of round where he's able to pick up 2 Spice Must Flows at the same time. Ilbon gets Keys to Power, pretty happy with that. Dortor does have the 2 Emperor influence, so that is online for him. Does he pick up a Liaison? Does not. Leto is winning the conflict with 1 troop. 1 troop, and Leto wins the Siege of Carthage. I don't know if Raiden expected that to happen. Baron could have deployed troops off Hardy Warriors. I wonder if he regrets that now. I mean, I think he was thinking that he wasn't going to win the conflict anyway, and he wanted to save troops to, you know, have a Master Stroke potential in the future. But wow, Leto getting an absolute steal. Raiden with the 1 victory point from 1 troop invested, as well as control of Carthage, which is no joke either. A couple of Solari going to be going his way over the course of the game, as well as potentially giving an advantage in a round, in a level 3 conflict. Raiden goes for the Cell Melange here, setting up for his own Swordmaster Baron. Not in the Swordmaster race this game. Had an opportunity to get the first Swordmaster with a different round 1 play, but went a different route, and we'll see how that goes. The victory points at the moment: Dortor's Ilbon with 2, Raiden's Leto with 4, Kurt W's Baron with 3, and Takobi's Paul currently sitting at 1, but it's still very early in the game. Arakeen for Baron. Does he spend his last Solari to pick up an Intrigue card? He does. That's 3 Intrigues for Baron now. Throws in 1 troop, holding those 2 back, potentially for the Master Stroke. Does have water for a Hardy Warriors. And it's over to Paul. Top card of the deck is Spice Smugglers. Doesn't currently have any spice. Haga Basin looking a little bit tasty there. 3 spice for, you know, 1 water. Seems reasonable to me. But it's just going to be a straight wealth play here for Paul. Maybe going to try to go to Mentat again. Still suits for Ilbon. Ilbon with the big garrison at the moment. Does he decide to commit? He does. Presumably, Lido going to pick up Swordmaster here in round 4. And there it is. Baron with 1 agent remaining. Is it going to be Hardy Warriors here? I mean, Hardy Warriors, if he chose Freeman, would get him the Freeman Alliance right now and would also pay his water back. So that seems like a pretty good move if you have it available. It's not necessarily the biggest conflict to actually win with that play. But, you know, you never know when you're going to draw that diplomacy. So if you have it, seems reasonable to use it. We'll see what he decides to do. Paul's next move, I'm not sure. I still think this Haga Basin is looking pretty good. And, I mean, the Guild Bankers to fold space also feels pretty good. But everybody having 1 water, I'm not sure if you're going to get that if you let it sit there. Whereas fold space might still be there for you. And in fact, Baron does take the Haga Basin. So don't know if he had the diplomacy. Seems like probably not. Chooses the lower path on the research track. Does that put him at 4 intrigues? No, he's up here. So he's on his way towards that Tleilaxu point and the spice. And he has the specimens to reclaim forces and take that this round. It's going to be another Mentat for Paul. It did seem like that's what he was doing with the wealth play. Scientific breakthrough on top of the deck now. The Spice Smuggler, unfortunately, isn't going to be usable. So I guess now you're going to... I mean, unless you want to early reveal for a Spice Must Flow, which I don't really think is great at this stage. I think it's probably you're looking... Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Ilbon playing Gurney Halleck to Carthag and really wants to win this conflict. I don't know if that was necessary. That's a huge... I mean, I wonder if there's like a staged incident or a gruesome sacrifice in there. That's what that feels like to me, because that's a huge commitment considering, you know, Lido doesn't have a garrison. Baron's out of agents, only has 2 troops in. Paul is not exactly a big threat here. I think that's what's going on there. I expect to see Ilbon playing one of those 2 intrigues. I guess maybe both. You never know. Lido could pick up High Council if he wanted to with that 4 Solari. Could rally troops. And it is High Council with the ring. He's got a few options here. Decides to take Guild Influence. It was either that or Emperor. Baron reveals 6. Doesn't have a nuke. Reverend Mother here, I think a pretty reasonable grab. How's he doing with Freeman and Bene Gesserit? Yeah. High priority travel, currently not unlocked for anybody. There's the reclaimed forces. Baron wins the race, grabs a couple of spice, going up to 9 spice, I think. And getting his Tleilaxu point there from the reclaimed forces. Does he also pick up the spiritual fervor? I think he had the persuasion for that, right? He had 6. Oh no, he has 2 left. Still hasn't revealed the Master Stroke. 4 liaisons left. And Baron decides to pick up one of them. I think it's a good idea because he does have the Freeman Bond potential with the Reverend Mother, which can help him pick up Spice Must Flows later. Let's see what Paul decides to do. I kind of think it's just a reveal for a Spice Must Flow. Okay. I mean, it's not crazy. Let me know in the live premiere chat here or in the game chat here if you're watching the VOD. Let me know what you think of that play. I think it's interesting. It is a victory point, which, you know, that's a victory point is a victory point. But he could have played the bankers to fold space, which that's a victory point. At least, you know, that's a victory point done now. You maybe have potential at the alliance. Also playing the experimentation would move you closer here. You either take the trash or you take the scarab, getting an intrigue card and getting closer to a point there. Especially given that you have this breakthrough and you really want to get to the end of the research track. I personally think that, at least for me, I don't think I would have made that move. I think I would have tried to play the experimentation and the bankers there, but we'll just have to wait and see how it turns out. All right, all nukes now have been used. We've got Test of Humanity for Humanity, Shifting Allegiances, Smuggler's Thopter, and Show of Strength here. Infiltrator's still sitting there. Kind of surprised that hasn't been picked up. And Usurp. I'll be surprised if anyone does take the Usurp, although it'll be fun if somebody does try it. Leto has revealed for 6. Yeah, 6. I mean, Test of Humanity, pretty good. Shifting Allegiances can be very good. It's another card that does compete with Leto's ring for spice. So Leto has some pretty serious spice demands. He's got Freeman Camp, he's got his ring, and now he has Shifting Allegiances. But I still think it is worth taking. You know, at worst, it's 2 persuasion on reveal. And it is going to give Raiden a chance to get some alliances, or to get an alliance anyway in this game. Ilbon reveals 2. Let's see. Where's the... Where is it? Where is it? What? No? No. Okay, it was just a monstrous commitment there from Ilbon for, I feel... Okay, it was a pretty big commitment. Now, he really wanted to win because he has the demand respect. So... I mean, sometimes you just want to make sure you win the conflict, right? Because maybe he's thinking, look, this is my chance to get this demand respect. I don't want this clogging up my hand for like 4 more rounds. Let me just make sure I win this. So I think it's reasonable. And, you know, Gurney Halleck generating those troops. He still has a couple of troops in the garrison. He can find the Gurney again. We'll see how it ends for him. He could have been a little greedier maybe, but, you know, that's one of the delicious pain points of Dune Imperium is like, sometimes you do need to be a bit greedier and try to maximize your efficiency of your troop usage, but sometimes you do that and you end up paying for it. Baron sells Melange. How much does he sell? He's got plenty to sell. So he could sell 5, pick up 12. He'd still have 6. 12 Solari would fund Swordmaster and a rally troops. All right, so it looks like he's going to be triggering Masterstroke off of Hayliner. Seems like that's the way things are going to go for Baron here. Round 5 is Cloak and Dagger, an Influence, and 2 Intrigue cards. Paul heads to Still Suits with Fold Space, getting his first Freeman Influence of the game. That's going to draw the Arrakis Liaison. And then he's going to hope to play Research... Experimentation and Scientific Breakthrough to get research happening. I guess it would be this way. We'll see. Selective breeding for Ilbon. Beautiful using the keys to power there. That's free selective breeding. Pay 2 spice, get 2 spice back. Cash back on the selective breeding today. Now, if Baron does Hayliner this, it could be a potential for 1, 2, 3, 4 influence in the game. 1 from wherever he sends his diplomacy to. Let's say it's Guild. 2 from the Masterstroke, and 1 from the Cloak and Dagger. That's possible. Looks like he probably has the diplomacy in hand, though not necessarily. Raiden's turn. 1 spice, 1 water. Has Swordmaster, has High Council. So the chores have been completed. There's still some tasty stuff in the Imperium row. We'll see what anybody decides to do about it. Dortor would really love to get this for humanity and maybe try to pull some shenanigans with the Bene Gesserit alliance. Or just use it to pick up influence. Already at 6 cards from the selective breeding. Doesn't have any Solari, though, to hit Mentat this round. So Baron did sell 5 spice there at Sel Melange. And does have enough for Swordmaster High Council here if he wants to do that. Leto plays to secure contract. Researches. Picks up a Solari. Now up to 4 Solari. Swordmaster for Baron. Does he have... He does have the subject unlocked, so that's going to be a Scarab. Really nice there for Baron to get that done. It's probably going to happen for Baron here. I'd say Baron is going to get to the end of that Tleilaxu track. Imperial Basin with an experimentation for Paul. Takobe green here. Probably just going to go this way. And gets an urgent mission. Hardy Warriors for Dortor. Now we'll see if Baron comes in with Hayliner as his final agent. How much does Ilbon commit? Paul could theoretically send Breakthrough. I mean, you could go to Research Station. You draw a ring. I mean, that wouldn't be bad because you'd be happy getting either the Dissecting Kit or the Imperium Ceremony there. The Dissecting Kit for the reveal would be pretty helpful. The Ceremony, I think, would mean Spice Must Flow. So Research Station looking honestly pretty reasonable. That would be 2 research. You could go... I mean, if you wanted to give up the urgent mission, you could... Wait, sorry, Paul's green. So 1, 2. Okay, never mind. What would that influence do for him? I mean, it's definitely valuable. He's low on influence, but the Scarab also pretty good. Alternatively, you just go to Arakeen, I guess. You stay at 7 persuasion. Maybe you pick up 4 humanity. There's also all this spice on the Great Flat, which you could... Yeah, I mean, if you go to Arakeen, you could leave that, and then next round you pick that up, and that gets you to 6 spice, which is a lot better than 5 spice in this game. Okay, Leto Slig Farmer to wealth with the diplomacy. Nicely done there, getting 4 Solari off the Slig Farmer. Able to easily pick up a Scarab. Gets his Emperor point. Pretty even so far. 4, 5, 4, 3. And it is the Hayliner for Baron. All right, let's see where this Master Stroke is. Oh, I'm so curious to see where this was. I have a feeling it's probably Freeman plus Emperor. And that's what it is. All right. Emperor, I think, makes sense because it's a faction space that you're, you know, probably least excited to go to. So picking up one of those for free often does feel good. Okay, and it is the Research Station for Paul. Gets the ring and the Dissecting Kit. Trying to see if there's a way he could use the Urgent Mission to do something. I mean, he could Urgent Mission and send the Dagger to Hall of Oratory and pick up Spice Must Flow. There is that option if you want to do it. Or you just, you know, take the 4 humanity, which, you know, honestly, I think is better because Paul is, you know, he really needs influence here. So influence is victory points. Speaking of which, he decides to take influence with that research. That being the case, I do still think this probably makes sense over Spice Must Flow. Well, especially now that Hall of Oratory is gone. because it's reconnaissance on top of the deck. So Arcane is not going to get you to Spice Must Flow, but you could do it, get the reconnaissance out of the way, and still have enough for the 4 humanity. Actually, Arcane draws 2 cards. Because one from the ring, one from Arcane. So you would draw the ceremony there. You could get Spice Must Flow if you wanted to. But I'm not sold on it. The thing is, we don't know what Ilbon has to reveal. He doesn't have High Council. Is anyone going to pick this up before Takobi has the chance? Personally, I think I would take this over Spice Must Flow right now. The reveal is not going to work for you, but the influence could potentially get you an Emperor Alliance, or it could get you your Bene Gesserit point, or you could get you a Guild Alliance. And, you know, we might still have like 3 more rounds in the game. All right, there's the Shifting Allegiances for Leto. Drops Guild, jumps up on Emperor, taking that Emperor Alliance. All right, so that's kind of 1 fewer place for this to make a big impact. Yeah, it's an interesting decision. Has 1 Spice Must Flow in the deck already. Getting another one does make it harder in the future. Plays the urgent mission. Okay, so it looks like it, well, yeah, it looks like it is going to be the Spice Must Flow play here. Yeah. Signet Ring to Arcane. What would you do here? Would you go Spice Must Flow, or would you go 4 humanity? I will admit, I do have a bit of a 4 humanity bias. It's just a card I really like. I like it disproportionately to how good it actually is. It's very good, but I like it more than is perfectly warranted by the level of power that it typically has. So that does influence my preferences here. Ilbon, though, I think will definitely take it. And so that ended up being a great call by Paul, because the 4 humanity wasn't even going to be there anyway. However, there is a Liet Kynes. So as Paul here... Oh, okay. It's nuked. Now we've got Long Reach, Researcher. I mean, I think now it's definitely Spice Must Flow. No Bene Gesserit cards to go with the Long Reach. The only graft being the Dissecting Kit, which you don't want to play as an agent because you want to reveal it for Scarabs. Looking good for Baron to win this conflict. I would imagine that would be a Freeman Alliance picked up for Kurt there. And then he's going to be overloaded on intrigues unless he has any he can use. And he'll be going last next round, so very vulnerable to secrets. There's the reveal. Let's see what happens. I mean, I think it's just got to be Spice Must Flow. The Researcher is good, but it's... Okay, does take the Infiltrator now, putting it on top of the deck, and pick Spice Must Flow. Contaminator revealed. Voice also picked up by Paul. Paul knows how to use the voice. Huge deck for Paul right now. 18 cards, 19 cards. Opulence is here. That could end up making a difference. Reminder, the top 2 from this game will move on to the semifinal. To the semifinals. They'll move on to a semifinal. Move on to the semifinals. We already know 2 of our players competing in the semifinals. We'll find out 2 more here, and then tune in tomorrow for the next live premiere for Bludge Bowl Day 2, where we'll find our last 4 players to make it into the semifinals. Gruesome sacrifice there for Leto. which got him that Tleilaxu point. Master Tactician played by Baron to retreat. Confident enough. Only retreats 2, doesn't retreat 3. Ilbon sitting on 2 intrigue cards with 2 spice. So, you know, there could have been a private army or something there. Baron deciding 2 troops are worth more than 1 Master Tactician, which I do agree with. Could have maybe gotten away with 3 troops. Does pick up the Alliance. And is going to be overloaded on intrigues. Well, hold on. Has it to the victor. That's well done. Ambush picked up here for Takobe. All right, Great Flat piles up to 5 spice. Baron the only one with any water at the moment. Imperial Basin with 2 spice on it, and it's Paul here. Round 6, we got Terrible Purpose, a victory point on the line. Infiltrator, Experimentation, Ceremony are your main cards to look at here. With a Reconnaissance, I guess. And then Spice Must Flow sitting on top of the deck. Currently looking at a lot of Persuasion. Can he maintain it and just keep buying Spice Must Flows? I don't know if he can keep getting away with it. A little bit awkward here for Paul. Do you play an Experimentation, pick up 2 Spice? That would take you here to a trash, which you don't really want to do. Not exactly a thrill of a play. The Infiltrator is a card draw. So you could, you know, Experimentation plus Infiltrator to like Arakeen and draw 2. But just plays the Experimentation to Imperial Basin. I think that's fair enough. He can always play Infiltrator plus Reconnaissance to Arakeen and draw 2 there if he wants, but it is a risk because you know one of them is Spice Must Flow. And so if your other one isn't a 2 Persuasion card, and there's only 3 of those in the deck, well, I guess Guild Bankers would also count towards that purpose. So he's got 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 out of 13 cards would, you know, get you the Persuasion for a Spice Must Flow after the Recon Arakeen with Infiltrator play. So this is a round where potentially having picked up that Spice Must Flow could cost Takobe here. Let's just imagine for a moment that this is the Spice Must Flow that he picked up a couple of rounds ago when he could have played the Experimentation and the Bankers. If he'd done it that way, he would currently be at the end of the research track. He would have that point set up already. The Infiltrator would provide an intrigue card when played, and a potentially better card would be sitting on top of the deck, and he'd be sitting at 3 influence with the guild, potentially able to pick up the alliance with the Imperium Ceremony this round. Now, that's not actually how it would be, right? Because all kinds of different things would be different potentially, but just fun to think about. Leto with 7 points here in the lead currently. He has 1 alliance and 1 point with the Freeman, but nothing with Guild, nothing with Bene Gesserit. We'll see if he can find those points in the next couple of rounds. Has won a couple of conflicts. That's where those points are coming from. Five Solari, has Swordmaster, has High Council. So the Solari is basically either Mentat or Rally Troops, and it's going to be Rally Troops. Okay, here we go. That feels like a pretty reasonable play here. Try to get another victory point out of the conflict somehow, whether it's this one, maybe a level 3. Dortor sitting on 9 Solari. I got to imagine a Mentat is going to be picked up if he can, if he's allowed to. Takobe obviously can't, but Baron could. Baron also has the water for a pretty big Great Flat here, setting up for around 7. Alternatively, could Research Station. Baron sitting here at the moment. If you were to go pick up Influence over here. I mean, he could use an influence in a few places, but he could also use a scarab. Maybe could get away with not taking that influence, though. Maybe could try to go this way. Maybe pick up 2 scarabs here if necessary, or this one plus another reclaim forces, although he has no specimens. Although I think Baron has the subject X137, right? All right, power play comes out finally, goes to fold space, and is heading towards the Guild Alliance there. Yeah, that was an interesting decision. Where do you use power play? Because he could use a point with the Bene Gesserit. There could have been a selective breeding there as well, but going for the Guild Alliance by the looks of things. And now what does Paul do here? All right, so it is the Infiltrator plus the Recon to Arcane. It's going to be a Spice Must Flow and what? And Voice. Okay, so he did hit one of those double persuasion cards. The 3 out of 13 chance did come into play there for Paul. So he does have the option to just reveal for a Spice Must Flow now, which is probably the best thing that he could do, because playing the Imperium Ceremony to wealth doesn't feel great. Playing the Voice doesn't really feel like it accomplishes much of anything. So I think that's going to be a reveal for a Spice Must Flow, and I think you're pretty happy with that as to Kobe, given your options that you had. With the 1 specimen, does he take a Contaminator and put it on top of the deck? I mean, it seems honestly not bad, considering he needs Freeman Influence, and he still needs Scarabs. So I would expect to see that happen. He's, if he can find that scientific breakthrough, it will get him a victory point, because he's only 1 research away from the end there. I'll be curious to see if Takobe decides to use this spice for like a Selma land or something, just to try to get the double Scarab play. Can he get to the end? It's possible. It's possible. We're playing to 11. No one has a whole lot of points yet. I have a feeling Gurney Hallett could be coming out here for Ilbon. Ilbon, by the way, picked up from the tank. That's one of my favorite Ilbon cards. I'm sorry I didn't call it out earlier, Dortor. I'm going to give you a retroactive cheer for having picked it up. I was like, where is this garrison coming from? But it's coming from the tanks. Siege Tabber for Raiden. Yeah, throw in your troops here. See if you can make it work. But I do have a feeling that... I just have a feeling that Gurney's going to be coming out here, taking this conflict for Ilbon. Baron still has 2 agents. Somebody's going to be getting a water out of this second place. And I have a feeling it might be Leto. So if Baron wants all this spice, I feel like now is kind of the time to do it. Now, maybe he doesn't. Maybe he's more interested in research, or is willing to let it build and kind of play chicken with Leto here. But I think if you're Kurt W and you want the spice, you kind of have to do it. It doesn't have to be now. He still has another agent. No one's going to beat him to it, so he can do something else and then pick it up. But I think this round is the time if you want it. And it does seem like a good time for it. Okay, selected breeding here. Which, no? Okay. Research station. Okay, does not go for that spice after all. So gonna maybe do research station and selective breeding and try to draw enough cards for a Spice Must Flow, I guess is what's going on there. Advances, picks up a 4th intrigue card, vulnerable to secrets from either Paul or Ilbon. Now, Paul we know doesn't have it. Ilbon might. Bribery played and grabs the Guild Alliance right now, bringing Baron up to 7. House Atreides, House Harkonnen, vying for the top spots right now in this game. Takobe does early reveal, pick up the Spice Must Flow. Let's see if he picks up the Contaminator at the same time. He does. Beguiling Pheromones is the new card there. I'd be surprised to see anybody take that. I mean, it could work, you know? If you're Leto and you know you have faction on top of your deck or something, you could use it to get either Guild or Bene Gesserit. There is the Gurney Halleck from Ilbon. How many troops does he throw in here? He throws in 5 troops. The maximum allowed there. Still has a decent garrison and another agent to back that up. So this is looking pretty good for Ilbon to win this. Leto has 1 agent left this round. Picking up a Bene Gesserit influence could be good. No one's over the intrigue limit, so Secrets isn't going to do that for you, but that seems like a reasonable play if you can do it. A ring play if he has that. I feel like it's one of those 2 things. It looks like he's going to get 2nd place, which means he'll be set up for this 6 spice Great Flat next round. Dortor, really very little progress with the research and Tleilaxu here. Not sure. I mean, I guess, you know, 1 research plus 1 reclaim forces would get him to that point, so it's still within reach. And Leto decides to go to secure contract with an experimentation. Gets a Scarab. And there he is there, 2 away from the end. Baron's final agent. And Baron could definitely use an Emperor influence, and that's indeed what he gets with the Carino genes. Now up to 8 victory points. Eight victory points, very close to a 9th here. One agent left for Dortor. Dortor goes to High Council. Okay. So High Council here has a decent chance, I'd say, of getting him a Spice Must Flow or maybe an Opulence. The Opulence is maybe a little bit late to matter. 6 for Leto. It could matter for him. He already has the 6 Solari, so if he can just draw it, that could be decisive. Picks up an Intrigue from the Tleilaxu track. How's his deck? 5 cards in deck, so may or may not ever see it, but I think you pick it up. I'm not sure if he has the means to combo the Long Reach. He does have Test of Humanity, but that's it. Does go for the Long Reach. Okay, we'll see if he can make that work. I mean, it's going to be tough. Baron reveals for 9, picks up a Spice Must Flow, so that's 9 for Baron. Close to 10 here. Ilbon also picking up a Spice Must Flow. 5 points. If he wins the conflict, gets up to 6 points. If he's able to get this, that would be 7. If he's able to get this, that would be 8. Hard to say. Obviously, it's looking good for Baron at the moment, but it is early. Leto did not take the Opulence, by the way. What did he do with his Persuasion? Oh yeah, he took the Long Reach. That's right, we talked about that. Does he have other plans for that Solari, I wonder? Two intrigues on Leto. Nothing here. 3 intrigues on Baron. Does he have the means to come and steal this? Oh no! Private army here from Baron. Gets up to 9 strength. I gotta feel like he's got more where that came from. Does Ilbon have anything to defend this? If Baron wins this conflict, this game is really, really looking good for him. It's not going to end right now unless he has a demand respect again. Wow. Wait, what? He doesn't have more where that came from. He's doing it just to get second place? Dortor, I think, was might have to change his pants after that, but manages to still come out with the win. That is a surprising move there from Kurt W to play the private army just for the second place. So, you know what? That makes it so that he gets the water, not Lido. That gives him the chance to pick up the 6 spice on Great Flat and maybe Hayliner for the win. That might be what that was about. Because otherwise, Lido's the one with 2 water, and it's very different. All right. Here's the 4 humanity to secrets for Dortor. So that's going to get him the Bene Gesserit Alliance, and it'll get him close to that guild point. Goes up to 5 intrigue cards, but secrets is not available for anybody else. Nobody else has any influence with the Bene Gesserit, by the way. Dortor completely monopolizing their attention. Does take guild influence. Uses a refocus. Okay. Because it's true, there is an infiltrator out there somewhere, so does have to worry a little bit about getting secrets. Does he have another intrigue to burn? No. Still sitting at 4. So I'd have to think he doesn't have anything super valuable, because if he did, he'd probably keep that refocus as a potential, you know, giveaway rather than losing like your key end game or whatever. But the refocus is good. I mean, an extra card draw right now is very valuable. Lido hits selective breeding. There's his first Bene Gesserit influence of the game. A ring play could get him the second. He does also have shifting allegiances. Just got reshuffled into the deck. Baron with the 2 water. Does he go for the Great Flat or does he go for Research Station? Research Station for Baron. It doesn't quite get him the Tleilaxu point yet. But he could trade an intrigue and draw another card and have a better chance at Spice Must Flow. The Spice would get him to a potential Hayliner, but Ilbon still has 6 troops in the garrison. And Baron has nothing. Also just spent a private army. Takobe really hoping that Still Suits doesn't get taken here, I think, because that is a key play here to get a 7th victory point there and an 8th victory point here. He really needs that Contaminator to get to Still Suits. Top of the deck is Diplomacy. I mean, theoretically, if Baron doesn't take this spice, if he goes to Research Station, theoretically Paul could play a ring to like Imperial Basin and draw the Diplomacy and then go to Hayliner, but it's subject X137 to Great Flat. Okay, so there you go. Baron gets the point there from the subject, getting that Tleilaxu point. Great time to use that calculated hire. Keep it away from Ilbon here. Baron's up to 10, looking very good for Kurt W. Takobe does get the Contaminator played. So it seems like it's a fight for second place right now. First and second place both move on to semifinals. And that is very helpful for Takobe's chances here, but there is 2 points on the line. Bindu suspension as well? I wonder why he didn't play that last time. He played one of those draw cards, but not the other one. Interesting. Baron does have the spice for a potential Hayliner. Okay, Gurney Halleck to Arakeen. So Ilbon definitely going to try to win this conflict. Drawing 2 cards. So that Hayliner from Baron, if he does it, doesn't look great compared to Ilbon's existing strength plus garrison to back it up, plus considering Baron's lack of garrison to back it up. Now, theoretically, he could Hayliner, rally troops, and then deploy more. That is a thing that could happen. But he also might want to like Hayliner research station to get a spice must flow. Thing is, the Hayliner probably won't win him the conflict. It would just get him the water to hit research station. Leto trying to decide what to do here. Raiden in a bit of a tough spot, is one away from the Tleilaxu point, but it's only one, but it feels a little bit far. Paul, unfortunately, not finding that breakthrough to get that extra point this round. That would have been really nice. Signet Ring to Haga Basin. Bene Gesserit influence for 8 points. If Leto can get a Spice Must Flow here, I think he has a decent chance at second place, because I don't know what Paul can do here now for more victory points. What would a research do? I mean, a research would let you like discard the dagger and draw the diplomacy. Trade out this intrigue card. What would that do? Would get you to 7. You'd have the diplomacy, which doesn't... I mean, I guess you could do that, and then you could play your ring to Hall of Oratory. Maybe get a Spice Must Flow. Okay, plays ring to Carthag, drawing the diplomacy that way. Oh boy, that is exactly what Takobe needed right there. Corner the market. Corner the market is just the thing. Paul has 3 Spice Must Flows. Ilbon has 1. Leto has none. Baron has 1. That's 2 victory points found off of Carthag. What a play. What a... Oh, what a grab from Takobe there. That just might have gotten him a spot in the semifinals right there. But the game is still not over. 8 points for Dortor, 8 points for Raiden, 10 points for Kurt W. And it looks like it's going to be 10 points for Dortor if this conflict goes his way. And I'm guessing he's going to pick up a Spice Must Flow for 11. So this still might not be enough. Oh, the dissecting kit on top of the deck. It doesn't really matter. Paul's not getting to the end of the Tleilaxu track. He's not getting to the end of the Tleilaxu track, and I don't see a Spice Must Flow available for him. So, you know what, though? I mean, it might come down to... Spice Tiebreaker. Baron currently has a lot. I don't know if he's going to bother with the Hayliner at this point. Maybe. I mean, maybe Ilbon is out of agents, so he can't actually deploy any more troops. Wait a minute now. Yeah, because Ilbon went to Fold Space to get that point. So, does he have Gurney Halleck in hand? No, he doesn't have the Solari to pay for it anyway. Baron researching from Imperial Basin, gets a couple of troops in there. I mean, Baron could go into Hayliner and win this if he can find it. And he did just draw a card there. If he found diplomacy, that could be critical. Paul sells Melange. Just getting the research played. Okay, does get the double Scarabs for an intrigue card. I guess that's really the best thing he could do. Oh, breakthrough to draw the dissecting kit, which is going to get him the Tleilaxu point. Are you kidding me with these intrigues? To Kobe, what a madman. What a madman. Goes for the only out he has. Maybe I get a miracle intrigue. It ends up being the research. He was at the end of the research track, draws the card, which was the dissecting kit, which is going to get him that point on reveal. That'll get him to 9. However, I'm not sure it's going to be enough. Ilbon here buys a Spice Must Flow, gets to 9. If he wins this, he gets to 11. Water of Life for Leto. Baron still has the Spice for the tiebreaker. So Paul's going to get to 11 here. 9 from this, 11 from this. Leto gets an intrigue card from Long Reach. If that had been Opulence, that'd be another victory point. I really think that was a mistake from Raiden there to pick that card there. I don't think you were going to get the combo to do much. And if you're going to choose between an intrigue on reveal or a victory point on reveal, I think I'd go with the victory point. But let's see. I mean, who knows? Picks up double cross. I mean, does it end up being the difference? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe? No. It's not. Okay, there's the Hayliner from Baron. Can he come in and win this conflict now? I think if he does, then it's win for Baron, and maybe Paul ends up getting second. Because Baron's now going to end up at 12 plus whatever endgames he has. Paul's going to end up at 11. Ilbon 9 plus endgames. Leto 9 plus endgames is how it looks at the moment. There are still combat intrigues potentially in play here. It's only 14-18. Baron has 1 intrigue. Ilbon has 2 intrigues. Baron has Spice. Ilbon doesn't. All right, a sword on reveal. That could matter. Ilbon, what does he have on reveal? Or his, I mean, on the conflict. No intrigue cards. This is looking like a Baron victory here. So it's going to come down to endgame intrigues, but I think it's looking pretty good for House Harkonnen and House Atreides. It's just maybe a different House Atreides representative than we might have believed. Wait, what's the wait? Real? Oh, he didn't think he was going to win. Kurt W takes the battle for Imperial Basin, going up to 12 victory points. Ilbon has plans within plans, but it's not worth anything. Corner the market for Paul is worth 2. And just like that, it's going to be Baron and Paul. Kurt W and Takobe make it into the semifinals. Baron Harkonnen, Kurt W takes first place. Takobe comes in second, and moving on to the semifinals for both of them, Dortor and Raiden very close in behind with 9 points. Good game to all of the players. It was a tight finish. It really could have gone any which way, but it is Kurt W coming out with the victory. There was a plans within plans there for Dortor, but he just didn't have the influence to make it work. Just missing way too much influence there for that one. The corner of the market was absolutely decisive for Paul. If he hadn't drawn that corner of the market, he would have been out, and it would have been Dortor actually moving on by the way things look at the moment. That other intrigue pull for the research to get the dissecting kit to get the final Tleilaxu point. Very dramatic, very fun to spectate Takobe's game there, considering the way that played out at the end. Great job to the players. We'll see you tomorrow for day 2 of the Bludge Bowl. Tune in at the same time tomorrow, and we're going to find out who are the next 4 players to make it into the semifinals. I'll see you there. Thanks everybody for being here. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, get into the Discord to talk about these games, Dune Imperium in general, and chat with everybody else. Follow on Twitch, twitch.tv/bludgeon. Tune in Sundays, 9 a.m. Eastern for the streams, although for this week and next week, it's going to be Bludge Bowl time. And I just put out a video about Immortality, about Uprising. So if you're looking to get into Uprising as it's coming out digitally, I have a video designed for Dune Imperium players getting you ready to play Uprising. All right, I'll see you tomorrow for Bludge Bowl Day 2. Special thanks to my alliances, Nico Toso, The Separoni, Lee Martinez, and Filip Utkovich.